everyone! Hope you're all well! And welcome to this month's video on my favorite thing in the multiverse, the Eldrazi!
You got something to tell me?
Oh, Zen, don't worry, you're still my favorite being, but in my eyes, the only things worthwhile are they.
They?
Yes, they! The three of them. When they came into my life, I knew I would be whole.
Is this whole Sarah thing again?
No? Who's Sarah?
Oh dear lord, what is wrong with you?
Nothing. Here, friend, let me tell you about them. Oh, this is gonna be so exciting! To understand the nature of the Eldrazi, you have to understand their function in the multiverse, their history, and their true intentions. The Eldrazi are beings that live between planes. Within the blind eternities, nothing exists but these creatures. Not only do they live there, but they thrive there. The number of Eldrazi between worlds are countless. We only know of 3 titans and the broods that follow them. For all we know, there could be hundreds of titans, each capable of spawning its own minions, that while acting independent of the titan itself, they are part of the titan that created it. Okay, giant Lovecraft Kaiju. What do they do though? Simple, really, they destroy planets. Okay. They drain them of all the mana and consume the life force of every being and subsequently turn the plane into dust, leaving the plane to collapse in on itself. But the word destroy, I would say, is apt. But why? Well, if the spirit dragon Ugin is to be believed, the primary directive would be nourishment and a nigh unwavering hunger for more to consume. While on plane, Titan-class Eldrazi follow the plane's ley lines and passively consume the plane just by moving, leaving an actual path of destruction in its wake, while those in the brood process things like native life forms in the terrain. The brood itself spreads out from the Titan in an attempt to cover more ground, and move once the subsequent area is absorbed, spreading out even farther from the Titan until all of the plane is consumed. The scale of a Titan-class Eldrazi are deceptive. While on plane, Titans tower over most landscapes and make mountains look like boulders. The truth is, they are actually much larger. There is actually more Titan than what is seen on plane, because while yes, the inhabitants see these massive spaghetti monsters, the reality is much worse. The more apt comparison is they are sticking their hand into an anthill. To bring the whole Titan would destroy the plane, so they must manifest a physical form, while not being entirely on the plane, a weird sort of astral projection if you think about it, but we're getting off track. The Eldrazi are probably as old as the multiverse itself, seemingly primordial beings that were created from the space between existence, and for the better part of 14,000 years before the ruin of the Thran Empire, we have no recorded instance of the Eldrazi and their exploits up until 3 planeswalkers, Sorin, Ugin, and Nahiri, meet on an unnamed plane that was destroyed by them, and they make the plan to imprison the Eldrazi. The 3 needed a world lush and brimming with life and powerful mana reserves to act as bait. It was agreed that Nahiri's homeland of Zendikar would be their prison. So, Ugin and Nahiri got to work making a network of stones carved in runes and suspended along the ley lines called hedrons to alter the flow of mana on the plane to lock the Eldrazi in one distinct spot on the plane and keep them from ever leaving. The power of this network was concentrated deep within a subterranean cave in the Akoma mountain range and sealed with a lock that could only be undone by 3 sparks and ghost fire. It would be here for thousands of years that the 3 titans Ulamog, Kozilek, and Emrakul would fall into hibernation. Once the task was complete, the 3 planeswalkers went their separate ways. Ugin returned to Tarkir, Sorin to Innistrad, leaving Nahiri to watch over the prison, which she nicknamed the Eye of Ugin, alone. In the space of 1,000 years, things on Zendikar got, bizarre. Yes, the Titans were contained within the Eye, however, the aura of Ulamog could not be contained, and it seeped from the Eye of Ugin and attracted attention all its own in the form of worship from a cult that had come to inhabit the Akoma mountain range. The longer the devoted stayed in the mountains, the more obsessed they became, while also managing to avoid rousing attention from Nahiri. The rituals the devoted would act out would somehow actually go a ways towards loosening the bonds of the Titans. At one particular point, the Hedron network was disturbed, and it made the prison quite unstable. While the Titans did not awake, its broodlings did, and the results were pure carnage. And since the Titans were still dormant, they couldn't leave the plane, so they just ran across Zendikar unabated. 12 cultists survived, if you can call what happened to them surviving, since they were turned into vampire blood chiefs. The 12 were the progenitors of all the vampires on Zendikar, and we only have the name of one, Rayami. It was only a matter of time before those absurdities of existence would break free, and this time Nahiri would not be there to fix the network. But that is a story for another time. After thousands of years of imprisonment in the Eye of Ugin, the door was finally opened to their escape when the three planeswalkers Jace Beleren, Chandra Nalaar, and Sarkhan Vol were gathered at the location and a scroll written in Ghostfire was opened. This was by all means a purely circumstantial situation that none of the individuals had any idea of the consequences. This whole event was orchestrated by Nicol Bolas and was part of his million-step plan to get his power back somehow. With the final lock opened, all Eldrazi activity flared up on Zendikar en masse. The Titans rose once again, and it's at this time that Sorin Markov comes back to Zendikar and decides to try to figure out how to fix the network and allies with Nissa Ravain, a local elf. Everything was going fine until Nissa realized that Sorin was trying to re-imprison the Eldrazi again and freaks out and destroys the main Hedron, holding them back in the hopes that they would just leave. Why? They didn't, surprise, surprise, and the only person who left was Sorin, which left Nissa to fight the giant spaghetti monsters alone. Eventually, others came to help her, like Gideon Jura, Jace Beleren, and Chandra Nalaar. By this point, there were only 2 Titan-class Eldrazi left on Zendikar, Ulamog and Kozilek, both able to warp physical objects and reality respectively. The third Titan, Emrakul, had disappeared months prior to the triage of planeswalkers descending on the plane. These planeswalkers were able to channel the mana on the plane into a giant fireball to burn the Titans to ash. With the 2 Titans dead, I think it's key we ask the question, are these Eldrazi capable of intelligent thought? Primarily being because Chandra just turned 2 of them into matchsticks, and it plays into the story later. Honestly, the answer kind of varies. The Eldrazi are driven by base urges to feed, but as humans we all know that doesn't mean they aren't intelligent. Case in point. Think of what makes humans smart. Not genius, just capable of function like the separations between you and a cockroach. To a cockroach, humans are not only terrifying, but they are also impossibly intelligent by comparison. Humans don't even notice that there's a cockroach right behind them half the time, but you know good and well that roach knows you're there. You're probably sitting there saying, "Trap, this is gross, why are we talking about any of this?" Patience, my dear viewer, this will all make sense shortly. Now, we fast forward to Innistrad. Nahiri has come to take revenge on Sorin for locking her away in the Hell Vault and starts manipulating the ley lines of the plane to focus the mana in one particular area for one reason, to summon the Titan that got away. Emrakul descends on the plane of Innistrad and begins to cause all kinds of chaos, seeing as she can warp the biology of every living being nearby, and considering her size, that's kinda just everything short of Kessig. It is at this point that Gideon, Nissa, Chandra, and Jace show up and come up with a plan. Jace would telepathically interact with the Titan, and this is where my question comes back into play. Once Jace was able to make contact with Emrakul, the version he saw of the Titan was not the one in the sky. Rather, she looked like when she was worshipped on Zendikar. Emrakul herself explained this, that the form she took was a conceptualization, and not her, because humans cannot process what an Eldrazi is. They are unknowable. Matter of fact, Emrakul herself didn't even know Jace was there the whole situation. The whole thing was a rationalization of an interaction that happened between 2 beings that cannot interface together. So, going back to our metaphor in this situation, Jace is a cockroach working against something so massive that he, himself, and his friends can't even conceptualize how it processes information, leaving Emrakul as our human element. Okay, so they clearly display intelligent qualities, but to me, what pushes it over the edge is how Emrakul is dealt with. Just some prior knowledge. When Emrakul was talking with Jace, she stated that Innistrad was not a welcoming place to her and that she felt incomplete. The plan was made by the Gatewatch to seal her away in the moon of Innistrad, but as the ritual was being done, Emrakul willingly sealed herself away, stating that it was not her time and that she was done playing around. I've mulled over those words for years. I think I finally have a correct answer. Okay, so when planes begin to collapse, the main thing that happens is that the ley lines begin to rupture, making mana go everywhere, making it flow all across the plane in a chaotic manner. With all of this mana free-flowing, it's like blood in the water, and it attracts the Eldrazi. Emrakul is waiting for Innistrad to start dying. Bear in mind, Innistrad is not that rich mana plane like Zendikar is, it's just a normal plane. Emrakul is waiting for Innistrad to start dying, which means she made the plan to wait it out, which means she is intelligent, which means Eldrazi are capable of intelligence, and much like humans, the quotient must vary from Titan to Titan. These beings, these creatures, they are driven to consume, yes, but they only consume planes that are either rich in mana or coming to the end of their lifespan. They are the Endbringers. They don't cause the apocalypse, they are the apocalypse. They are the Titans of the end. We can't understand them because we were never made to understand them. We probably weren't even meant to interact with them. Think about it. The only reason life forms do end up coming in contact with the Eldrazi is because Ugin, Nahiri, and Sorin put them on a plane that already had a bunch of living beings there. They were put there too soon. That's why Emrakul left. The Eldrazi are strange beings, and certain things about them make no sense. This is true. However, I don't think a being that is capable of hinting at not being ready for something is just talking to hear themselves. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. Helps out a lot. Also, if you want to talk about whether or not an interdimensional blob monster can actually think, or that's way beyond our understanding of the human species, or WotC is just throwing whatever they can to not commit to a solid answer, join the Discord server in the description and we can talk about it. Or, go ahead and tell me on Twitter what you think. We also got Twitch, where I sometimes stream, usually on the weekends. Oh yeah, one last thing. This is not the last video of the month, because we are going to do a Q&A. That will probably drop at the end of this month if this video wasn't enough, and if it doesn't drop on time, it'll just go into next month. So drop some questions in the comments, DM them to me, add them on Twitter. I'll probably put a section in the Discord for them. It's fine. However you want to do this, and I'll make sure to get to them. Well, everyone, until next time, may your revels never end.